Was Einstein born with E equals mc squared scribbled on his birth certificate? We like to picture baby Albert babbling formulas between spoonfuls of applesauce, maybe demanding his milk in a precisely measured Einstein bottle. Legend has it he waded through advanced math like a rubber ducky in a kiddie pool, conquering calculus before most of us could even wiggle our toes. But here's where myth delivers a playful jab to reality. The tale says Einstein mastered math before tying his shoes, or before shoes even existed. Some versions paint him as a human calculator in knickerbockers, effortlessly solving puzzles that make adults sweat. Sorry to burst the bubble, but school records tell a more down-to-earth story. Yes, Einstein was good at math, but hardly supernatural. He progressed steadily, no accelerating grades or special honors awarded mid-course. And while numbers came easily, French grammar? Not so much. In fact, even genius needs a study break now and then. Then there's that juicy rumor that Einstein actually flunked math. False alarm. He scored well and passed with flying colors. The confusion? A mistranslation of old Swiss grades, not a cosmic math fail. Some teachers even doubted he'd finish school, proving genius can be a late bloomer, or a master of disguise. Wouldn't it be something if toddler Einstein explained tax returns to his parents? Alas, you don't need to ace calculus to beg for a second helping of dessert, or to become a legend, quirks and all. While Einstein's early brilliance paints a picture of innate talent, the next myth shifts focus to Curie's life, portraying her sole dedication to science with no distractions. Marie Curie, the original poster child for too busy for brunch. Forget FOMO. Marie basically invented FOLO, fear of lab overtime. Pop culture crowned her the eternal lab rat, married to her microscope, while Pierre, the OG supportive husband, was nearly a third wheel. The myth. Marie, locked away in a Parisian lab, surviving solely on radium, willpower, and a hefty dose of existential dread. Social life? Only if the table was Mendelev's. Friend circle? Strictly Group 2 medals. If she ever hit the club, the Geiger counter would DJ, and her drinks would actually glow under the black light. But plot twist. The real Marie Curie wasn't just a Nobel-winning element wrangler. She loved literature, dabbled in philosophy, and yes, she danced. Her letters to family overflowed with warmth, humor, and not just, well, radioactivity. This legend happily hopped on a bike with Pierre for countryside getaways, proving her idea of a hot date was a stroll with polonium. Work-life balance? More like half-life balance, but still. Sure, her souvenirs sometimes set off airport security, but hey, she made time for leisure. And those evenings with Pierre? Nothing spices up a marriage quite like a little radioactive tryst beneath the Parisian stars. So next time you picture Marie Curie as a solemn, glowing hermit, remember, she lived life as bright as her discoveries, just with a tad more radiation than the Surgeon General recommends. Transitioning from Curie's relentless work ethic, the following myth highlights Hawking's journey, suggesting a career unmarred by failure. Picture Stephen Hawking tearing through academia like a sports car on the Autobahn. Zero red lights, green signals blaring at full speed. Or so the legend likes to tell us, a prodigy in Cambridge tweed, zooming from undergrad nobody to cosmology rock star in warp speed. If Hawking's career was a roller coaster, the safety harness got tested, several times over. But let's slam the brakes. The myth reads like a highlight reel. Reality prefers bloopers. As an undergrad, his grades were respectable, which at Cambridge means barely awake, but charming. His transcripts didn't shout future genius laureate, more like a polite nudge, keep your day job, for now. His PhD application nearly fizzled, held back by average marks and a carefree attitude toward exams. Legend has it he considered them as pointless as an inside-out umbrella for black holes. Enter ALS. At 21, Hawking gets handed a grim diagnosis with a bleak prognosis. But instead of brake lights, this became a cosmic slingshot. Gravity couldn't keep his trajectory straight. Forced to recalibrate his ambitions and his own body, he pressed on, skidding through setbacks, career detours, and medical potholes the size of actual black holes. There was no smooth, frictionless rise. Hawking's climb was a spiral, proof of stubborn tenacity, razor-sharp wit, and the world's fiercest refusal to hit pause. Forget effortless genius. His real legacy is turning every red light into a detour worth taking. Now that's how you rewrite the laws of motion. After examining Hawking's seamless success, we explore the idea that Feynman's genius sprang from some sort of magical, superhuman mind. If Richard Feynman had a cape, folks would swear he spent weekends battling crime with his quantum corrector ray, basically the Tony Stark of theoretical physics, minus the billionaire beard and the flashy suit budget. Legend has it, Feynman was born with a rare, nearly mystical brain, one that juggled Schrödinger's equation while the rest of us struggled with multiplication tables. Tales of young Richard's brilliance abound, solving riddles before breakfast, fixing radios by sheer thought, and cracking neighborhood safes like most kids dismantle lunchboxes. But don't let the myth gloss over the man. Feynman earned his genius badge not through superhero powers, but relentless curiosity, fearless questioning, and a work ethic that would put caffeine-fueled grad students to shame. If his brain was superhuman, then caffeine was the real-world infinity stone. He didn't coast on untouchable intuition. Instead, he rederived every theory from scratch, grilled assumptions until they squealed, and tackled each tangled problem with enthusiastic grit. And here's the secret sauce most overlook: playfulness. Feynman didn't conjure the universe's mysteries with a magic wand, unless you count his trusty chalk stick. His biggest ideas often sprang from doodles, free association, or gleeful tinkering, not thunderbolts from on high. He failed, flailed, and fiddled as much as he finished. We just remember the dazzling fireworks, not the fizzling sparklers. So no, Feynman wasn't floating on a cloud of quantum foam, dispensing wisdom to us lowly electrons. He dove headfirst into the daily muck with more joy, persistence, and messy eraser dust than most, proving true magic lies not in a brain wired by accident, but in never stopping to use it with delight. Moving beyond Feynman's supposed magical brain, the next myth considers Tesla as the solitary inventor who worked in complete isolation. Imagine Nikola Tesla, alone in his candlelit lab, inventing Wi-Fi with one hand while zapping light bulbs with the other. It's the classic image, a lone genius cackling over blueprints, only pausing to feed pigeons and maybe accidentally inventing popcorn. If Tesla really invented everything, my missing left sock is probably his fault. And don't even get me started on Taco Tuesday. Here's the myth: Tesla as the solitary mastermind behind every modern marvel, including your toaster and possibly your cat's mood swings. Pop culture loves painting him as the misunderstood wizard, conjuring electricity from thin air, and a dramatic thunderstorm or two. Now let's flip the switch to reality. Tesla was a prodigy, sure, but he wasn't working in a vacuum. Science, shocking as it sounds, is a team sport. Jersey's optional. He collaborated, sparred, and occasionally shouted across the lab with contemporaries like Edison and Westinghouse, plus the unsung heroes who fetched coffee and unplugged things at the worst possible moments. Many of his inventions built upon earlier work, and future inventors kept tinkering long after he'd left the building, sometimes with better funding. Instead of a solitary sorcerer, think of Tesla as the star player in a messy group project. Imagine less pizza, more voltage. His electricity bill probably needed a committee to decode. Don't forget the bitter rivalries and chronic cash crunches, tough odds for solo world domination. Yet amid the chaos, Tesla stayed unmistakably Tesla, eccentric, visionary, often broke, and steadfastly devoted to his pigeons. So, while he didn't single-handedly invent Wi-Fi, humanity still owes him a tip of the hat, or at least a working light bulb. From Tesla's solitary efforts, the narrative shifts to the broader field, perpetuating the belief that physics was historically male-dominated, with no legendary women. Ever notice how history books make physics look like Isaac Newton plus a gang of powdered wigs debating apples? As if it was some exclusive gentleman's club, complete with cravats and a "No Girls Allowed" sign scribbled in Latin. But the idea that men had a monopoly on physics is as outdated as astrologers insisting Earth is flatter than a pancake. For centuries, brilliant women were lurking in the margins, calculating, theorizing, discovering, often forced to publish under men's names or not at all. Hidden Figures wasn't just a movie. It was the official female job description for centuries. Hypatia was out there sketching circles in ancient Alexandria, dodging metaphorical flying scrolls. Probably not literal scroll dodging, but you get the picture. Fast forward to Émilie du Châtelet translating Newton's Principia into French, possibly in high heels, or at least with enough style to make Sir Isaac blush. Marie Curie didn't just shatter the glass ceiling, she radiated it, snagging Nobel Prizes in both physics and chemistry. Meanwhile, Lisa Meitner, Rosalind Franklin, and Emmy Noether rewrote the laws of science, while their male colleagues collected Nobels and delivered bashful acceptance speeches. Honestly, if curiosity killed the cat, it might have been because a female physicist was finally left unsupervised in the lab. It wasn't a lack of brains that kept these stories hidden, just a lot of societal, "No, dear, you don't belong here." Now, history's footnotes are turning into full chapters, and sometimes even front covers. Given all this backstage brilliance, the Oscars for Best Supporting Physicist should probably go exclusively to women for the next century. Physics was never a boys' club. It just needed to send out some overdue invitations. Challenging the absence of female giants, the subsequent myth simplifies the complex discovery of quantum physics into a single eureka moment. Imagine the entire universe flipping upside down because someone finally found their misplaced car keys. Welcome to the mythical eureka moment of quantum physics. Picture a wild-haired physicist yelling, "I've got it!" as atoms shuffle like a cosmic dance, and Schrödinger's cat exhales, no longer stuck in existential limbo. If only science unfolded with such neat theatrics. Spoiler: quantum physics didn't spring fully formed from Einstein's brain like Athena leaping from Zeus's forehead, thunderbolts and epic soundtrack included. Nope, the real story's messier. Decades of eyebrow furrowing, tea splattering, and frantic note scribbling. It all starts with Max Planck, whose eureka was more, "Well, this fudge factor kinda makes the math work. Let's roll with it." Planck didn't announce the quantum revolution and dash off for brunch. He tossed the puzzle into the ring and hoped someone smarter would sort it out. Cue Einstein, Bohr, Schrödinger, Heisenberg, and a parade of perplexed geniuses volleying wild ideas like a cosmic tennis match. Every serve made reality stranger. Cats both alive and dead, particles partying in multiple spots, and uncertainty rules that would turn the calmest philosopher into a hyperventilating mess. If a true quantum eureka ever existed, it simultaneously did and didn't. Just ask Heisenberg. Meanwhile, everyone's headache appeared instantaneously. The truth? Quantum physics simmered in a boiling pot of confusion, debate, and legendary late-night coffee runs before consensus emerged. If anyone did shout Eureka, it was probably because the cafe finally served their cappuccino. And Einstein? He likely just wished for a moment of clarity, and maybe a nap. Finally, after romanticizing discovery, the last myth paints physicists' lives as dull and predictable, void of any exciting stories. Think physicists spend their days hunched over dusty equations, never seeing daylight? Think again! If you've always pictured a physicist as a wild-haired hermit surviving on chalk dust and secondhand sunlight, congratulations. You've been hoodwinked by stereotypes. Popular belief casts physics icons as socially awkward recluses, socially distanced before it was cool, who speak only in equations and haven't glimpsed daylight since calculus was invented. But the truth? Physics history is less ivory tower, more madcap adventure novel. Many legendary physicists lived lives so action-packed, even Doctor Who would have asked for their autograph. Take Richard Feynman. Not only did he crack quantum mysteries, he cracked safes during the Manhattan Project and stole the spotlight at parties just as deftly as he split atoms. Need proof physicists can groove? Feynman jammed on bongos in Brazil, where peer review apparently included samba circles. Isaac Newton, genius. Yes, but also dabbled in alchemy, paranoia, and rumors suggest he nearly burned down his parents' house to protect his experiments. Apparently, the only thing Newton dropped more than apples was his neighbor's trust. Marie Curie vacationed with radioactive elements tucked in her luggage. Forget SPF 50. Marie figured a little glow-in-the-dark uranium added zest to any camping trip. Who knew the deadliest element at a Curie picnic was the cheese? And Albert Einstein, the poster child for absent-minded professor, spent much of his youth flouting authority, skipping class, and exasperating teachers worldwide before showing up and becoming a global superstar. So next time someone claims physicists just sit hunched in labs, remind them their wild adventures rival any rock star's tour, just with more lab coats and possibly less alcohol. Now, isn't that an equation worth remembering?